The Supreme Court has allowed Texas to arrest and jail migrants as part of the state's new tough immigration law. Under the law, known as SB 4, local and state police can arrest and prosecute those suspected of illegally crossing the Mexican border. The Biden administration has called the law unconstitutional. The decision comes a day after it was blocked by the same court while emergency appeals played out. Enforcing immigration laws, including arrests, has typically been handled by the federal government. SB 4 now gives that power to Texan officials, allowing them to prosecute migrants or order them returned to Mexico. The law is among the toughest immigration measures taken by any U.S. state in recent memory. In total, SB 4 was delayed 3 times by Justice Samuel Alito. Then on Tuesday, the Supreme Court said the law can take effect at the same time that the lower federal appeals court weighs its legality. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton hailed the decision as a huge win against the Biden administration and the American Civil Liberties Union, ACLU, which challenged the law in court. As always, it's my honor to defend Texas and its sovereignty and to lead us to victory in court, he wrote in a post on X, formerly Twitter. The ACLU, for its part, vowed that it won't back down until this extreme anti-immigrant law is struck down for good. The court's 3 liberal justices, Sonia Sotomayor, Elena Kagan, and Ketanji Brown Jackson, dissented. The court gives a green light that will upend the long-standing federal-state balance of power and sow chaos, Justice Sotomayor wrote in the dissenting opinion. She also wrote that the law could disrupt sensitive foreign relations, frustrate the protection of individuals fleeing persecution, hamper active federal enforcement efforts, and keep migrants from reporting abuse or trafficking. SB 4 gives local and state police officers the ability to stop and arrest anyone suspected of having crossed the border illegally, except in schools, healthcare facilities, and places of worship. Punishments would range from misdemeanors to felonies and potential imprisonment, or fines of up to $2,000, 1,570 pounds. Penalties for those who illegally re-enter Texas after having been deported could go up to 20 years in prison, depending on a person's immigration and criminal history. The Justice Department has argued that SB 4 infringes on the federal government's authority to secure the U.S. border. Additionally, the Biden administration has warned that it could harm relations with Mexico, which has condemned the law as anti-immigrant. Historically, the U.S. government has created laws and regulations on immigration, even though the U.S. Constitution does not explicitly give it those powers, and negotiated treaties and agreements with other countries. SB 4 was signed into law in December and was initially due to come into effect on the 5th of March. The case will now head back to a 3-judge panel from the New Orleans-based U.S. Court of Appeals for the 5th Circuit, where oral arguments are scheduled for the 3rd of April. The losing party can then again appeal the case, sending it back to the Supreme Court. The implementation of SB 4 comes amid rising public concern over immigration and the U.S.-Mexico border. A Gallup poll released in February showed that nearly 1/3 of Americans believe that immigration is the single greatest problem the U.S. faces, ahead of the government, the economy, and inflation. Kindly like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments section.